The Quiet Revolution, Finding Strength in Softness. Have you ever noticed how we glorify the comeback story? The phoenix rising from ashes, the underdog who defies all odds. We love these narratives because they're dramatic, inspiring, and completely exhausting to live through. I recently had the privilege of interviewing Patrice Washington, a woman whose journey has fundamentally redefined what it means to be strong and confident in a world that constantly demands more from us. If you haven't encountered her work, Patrice isn't just a financial expert or best-selling author. She's a revolutionary who has helped thousands of women, particularly Black women, reclaim their power after society tried to convince them they had none. What struck me most about Patrice wasn't her impressive resume or her magnetic presence. It was the quiet dignity with which she described rebuilding her entire career after leaving a mentally abusive marriage, the way she maintained her identity as a powerhouse entrepreneur while navigating emotional turmoil that would have shattered most spirits. The strongest thing I ever did, she told me, leaning forward with eyes that held both pain and triumph, wasn't building my business. It was walking away from someone who made me believe I was nothing without them. That sentence hung in the air between us, heavy with truth. That's the kind of strength we don't talk about enough in our conferences, our business books, our motivation seminars. We're obsessed with the hustle, the grind, the rise and shine at 5 a.m., or you're already behind mentality. But what about the strength it takes to rest, to set boundaries, to say, actually, no, I won't be diminishing myself today. Thank you very much. For too many of us, especially Black women, strength has become our prison. Our cape becomes so heavy that we forget we have the option to take it off. Sometimes we wear it for so long that we forget it's even there. I see you nodding. You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? We've been taught that being strong means never showing weakness, never asking for help, always being the rock for everyone else while our own foundation crumbles beneath us. We pride ourselves on how much we can carry, how little sleep we need, how many crises we can handle simultaneously. But what Patrice Washington's journey teaches us is that true strength isn't about never falling. It's about getting up every single time with even more swagger than before. It's about recognizing when something isn't serving you, even when that something is wrapped in a package labeled security or status quo. During our interview, Patrice shared how she sought therapy, built a support network of fellow Black women entrepreneurs, and set strict personal boundaries. These weren't signs of weakness, they were strategic investments in her most valuable asset, herself. I had to learn, she said with a smile that didn't hide the tears in her eyes, that self care isn't selfish, it's survival. And that's the first lesson I want you to take away today. Embracing your strength and confidence, especially when life gets messy, means recognizing that true power comes from within, not from external validation, not from titles or accolades, from knowing your worth even when others try to discount it. But here's where it gets interesting. While interviewing DJ Fresh about Zimbabwean entrepreneurs thriving in South Africa, I discovered another dimension of strength. These business owners faced xenophobia, lack of capital, and cultural barriers that would have deterred most people. Yet they built thriving enterprises that now employ other immigrants and have shifted public perception about African entrepreneurship. One woman arrived with nothing but a suitcase and a recipe for her grandmother's sauce. Today, her products are in supermarkets across 3 countries. Another started by fixing phones on a street corner and now owns a technology company with 30 employees. What was their secret? Community. We didn't succeed despite our challenges, DJ Fresh explained, his voice resonating with conviction. We succeeded because of them. When you have nothing to lose, you become fearless. When the traditional paths are closed to you, you create your own paths. These entrepreneurs leverage community support networks and develop innovative business models tailored specifically for local markets. They didn't try to be carbon copies of existing businesses. They embraced their unique perspectives and turned them into competitive advantages. Which brings me to my second point. Prioritizing self work and self worth isn't just good life advice, it's good business strategy. As a businesswoman, and let's be real, as a human, investing in yourself is non negotiable. The journey to confidence starts with daily self care, setting boundaries, and refusing to let anyone dim your light. I'm not talking about bubble baths and scented candles, though those are lovely. I'm talking about the hard work of looking in the mirror and asking, what do I need to thrive, not just survive? I'm talking about the courage to walk away from opportunities that pay well but cost your soul. I'm talking about the audacity to believe that your mental health matters as much as your productivity. For Patrice Washington, that meant launching new ventures focused on financial empowerment for Black women and becoming an advocate for mental health awareness. After years of subtle manipulation that made her doubt her own perceptions, she realized she deserved better for herself and her community. The result? She's now inspired thousands of Black women professionals to prioritize their own well being over societal expectations. Her books don't just teach financial literacy, they teach self worth as the foundation of all wealth. But this isn't just about individual success stories, it's about a collective awakening. During my conversation with Ayanda Nkwame, I was struck by how she shined at the Africa Choice Awards despite facing intense public scrutiny following the loss of her husband. Rather than shrinking under the media spotlight, she focused on self care rituals and collaborated with supportive fashion designers who celebrated her individuality rather than just her celebrity status. Grief tried to make me invisible, she told me with a grace that took my breath away. But I refused to disappear. Widowed unexpectedly, Ayanda refused invisibility, instead, using her visibility as a platform for advocacy around widowhood rights. She emerged as an icon, not only for style, but also for inner strength, sparking conversations about redefining womanhood beyond marital status among African professionals. This brings me to my third and perhaps most important point. Mental health matters, and you should never settle for less than you deserve. Mental abuse is real, and so is the freedom that comes from choosing yourself over toxic situations. You can thrive in business and life by acknowledging your worth and taking bold steps toward healing. Let's be honest, in many of our communities, mental health is still taboo. We're taught to pray away our problems, to keep family business private, to just push through. What happens in this house stays in this house isn't just a saying, it's a mandate that keeps too many people suffering in silence. But what if pushing through is pushing us toward breakdown? What if strength actually looks like saying, I'm not okay and I need help? What if confidence is being vulnerable enough to admit when something isn't working? Patrice Washington's story reminds us that sometimes The strongest thing you can do is walk away from what's hurting you, even when it looks good on paper, even when others don't understand, even when it means starting over. After leaving her marriage, she had to rebuild not just her business, but her sense of self. Years of being told she wasn't enough had taken their toll, but through therapy and community support, she reclaimed her power and redefined success on her own terms. The first step, she shared, her voice dropping to a whisper that somehow filled the room, was recognizing that the voice in my head telling me I couldn't make it on my own wasn't my voice, it was his. And once I realized that, I could start replacing those lies with truth. This is what healing looks like, not a straight line, but a messy, beautiful journey back to yourself. And it's a journey worth taking because here's what I know for sure: you cannot pour from an empty cup, you cannot lead from a place of depletion, you cannot build an empire on a foundation of self doubt. The entrepreneurs DJ Fresh highlighted understood this. Despite facing discrimination and financial obstacles, they prioritized their mental well being. They created support systems. They celebrated small wins. They refused to internalize the negative messages society sent them. And Ayanda Nkwane, she showed us that even in grief, there is space for joy, for beauty, for reinvention. She became a brand ambassador, inspiring others through vulnerability paired with elegance. So, what does all this mean for you? It means you have permission to put yourself first, to set boundaries without guilt, to walk away from situations that diminish you, to seek help when you need it. It means recognizing that mental abuse, whether from a partner, a boss, a friend, or even yourself, is never acceptable. And that freedom begins the moment you decide you deserve better. It means understanding that true confidence isn't about never doubting yourself. It's about moving forward even when doubt is screaming in your ear. As Patrice Washington's journey shows us, sometimes the most powerful business move you can make is choosing yourself. After rebuilding her career, she published best selling books and was featured in national media for her resilience stories. But more importantly, she found peace. Success without peace is just busy failure, she told me. And I felt that in my soul. Today, I'm challenging you to start a quiet revolution in your own life, not with grand gestures or public declarations, but with small, powerful acts of self reclamation. Challenge the voice that tells you your worth is tied to your productivity. Question the belief that says you must suffer to succeed. Reject the idea that your pain is the price of your power. This revolution begins in whispers, in boundaries drawn and held, in moments of rest claimed without apology. It grows in therapy sessions and supportive friendships, in businesses built on values that honor your humanity. And make no mistake, this revolution, though quiet, will change everything. Because when we stop glorifying burnout and start celebrating balance, we create a new definition of success, one that includes our mental health, our joy, our peace. The world doesn't need more martyrs, it needs more whole, healed humans who lead from a place of abundance rather than scarcity, who know that their softness is not a weakness to overcome, but a strength to embrace. So today I invite you to join the quiet revolution, to find your strength in softness, to build your success on self worth, to create a life and a business that honors all of who you are, not just what you can produce. Because the most radical act in a world that profits from your exhaustion is to be unapologetically well. Thank you.